What's up, fellow do-it-yourself fish keepers? You're looking at my Standecker tank. This would be discus, hands, discus. My breeding female is a hands discus, but otherwise all my hands are in here. I've probably bought as many hands fish as I still own today, so I've lost just as many as I own. In my area, she only gets discus hands in, say, 2-inch discus. It's not easy. Sure isn't. I mean, nobody wants to admit that they kill fish and da-da-da. You buy a small hands fish, I mean, his water is just so damn perfect. He's doing twice daily water changes. Everything's on a massive sump tank, and I mean, I do daily water changes. I mean, I know my water's higher parts per million and in a harder water than his water, which isn't great. I've noticed some of hands discus get quite stressed when I do large water changes, which is what he recommends. I pretty much got it figured out. These guys don't get as big water changes as recommended or other fish do. I mean, they recommend it for growth, but I can't do it with my water. I seem like I'm keeping the wrong kind of fish for my area of the of municipal water, basically. Oh, sun's awake. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I started keeping fish. I have a cousin Ryan who was a big animal guy when we were younger. He's older than I am, and he had a piranha tank, and I just thought it was so cool. I remember helping him clean it. He was one of those guys that'll take it out and sterilize the tank, rinse the whole tank and rocks with bleach and take the fish out. And, I mean, all the fish were fine, and he sterilized his tank and put it back in. I don't recall if he sterilized the filter or not, so I don't know if he caused a big old cycle or what. But I recall when I was young like that keeping fish, which is over 10 years ago now, they didn't have submersible heaters. All the heaters were hanging on the back, and the knowledge there, I mean, like, of the denitrifying process and all that shit just wasn't the way it is now. I mean, I had little to no understanding of that shit getting back into fish keeping here 10 years later, and it's an in-depth process that you need to know. So I went out and got myself a piranha tank. I started with a 20 long. I wound up with a 20 long and 2 10-gallons. The 1 10-gallon had a breeding pair of convict cichlids, a pink convict and a blue convict. The other 10 was a community tank. I had a 5.5 with goldfish in it for my piranha and the 20 long. And then my pride and joy tank at the time was a 29 Eclipse. Had the hang over the top filter and light and everything that was all in one canopy unit. It was a nice little unit. And I left on vacation in my lake cabin one weekend. I told Mom, hey, you know, be careful on the room temperature in that house. You know, the air conditioner was real far from my room in that apartment. So I'd asked her to leave the windows cracked. Well, she left them shut, and she took off up to the lakes. By the time she left it back home, a couple days before I did, by the time she got home, all my fish were cooked. Water was brown. Luckily enough, I had a friend who had fish tanks at the same time, and she actually paid him to clean and throw away all my shit. I wasn't too thrilled. But that got me a little depressed out the hobby for a while. I started keeping geckos. I, of course, got my dogs and cats and all that. But yeah, that's basically my start. It started with my cousin Ryan and ended with my mom killing everything. I started again with piranhas, but quickly moved back to discus, or up to discus. Well, we'll do a little walkthrough and go through the rest of the tanks here. Here's my baby of pistos. Mom and Dad were in the tank we were just looking at with the Standeckers. They're just little guys. I got almost all my pistos. I bought it under an inch, so these guys are getting really close to ready.